Transversal line KP passes through parallel lines JM and RS as shown. So this is important that we know that these two lines are parallel. Complete the sentences to describe angle QHJ. So I want to trace that over so I know what I'm talking about. QHJ. So I'm focusing right here on this angle. Okay. I'm looking at my picture and I personally would start labeling things, right? So if this is 32, I know the vertical angle is 32. I know my corresponding angle is 32. I know this vertical angle is 32. I would just start matching those kind of things up, right? Then I know my linear pairs would have to be whatever 180 minus 32 is. So this is 148, this is 148, this is 148, this is 148. So I've filled everything in. That might help me when I'm thinking about this stuff. It says angles PQR and QHJ. So QHJ is that one. PQR. PQR. This one. So these two angles are what I'm focusing on. Are they congruent or supplementary or complementary? So I have to know what these words mean, right? Congruent is the same size, supplementary is 180, complementary is 90. So if I look at these angles, I labeled them both 32. They are congruent. So I'm going to pick A. Okay, then the second part to this is asking me for a reason. So I have to know, are those angles called consecutive? Are they called corresponding? Or are they called alternate exterior? So remember from all the vocabulary you've done all year, these angles are interior angles. These angles are exterior angles. So if I'm focusing on this one and this one, I have one exterior and one interior. So they can't be alternate exterior. Okay. I have to pick between consecutive and corresponding. So corresponding means the same position. So same position meaning when I look at this group of four angles, 32 right here is on the bottom left of these four. It's under the parallel line and to the left of the transversal. Same thing with these four angles down here. This 32 is under the parallel line and to the left of the transversal. So they are corresponding because they're in the same position. And now this says the measure of angle QHJ. We already filled that in, was 32. Page 27. We have a trapezoid. It says select all the true statements. So we have to look at our trapezoid and see what's marked. If these two pieces are the same, then X is in the middle. And if these two pieces are the same, Y is in the middle. That means this is a mid segment. Okay, so this is a mid segment. When we have a mid segment, we know all three of these lines are parallel to each other. And then we also know, remember we just did a problem like this, the mid segment is the average of the two bases. So I can say base 1 plus base 2 over 2. Add them up, divide by 2. Okay, so I'm going to go through my choices. I have AX is congruent to BY. So AX and BY, they are not marked the same. That makes no sense. That's not right. DX, so DX is congruent to CY. They are not marked the same. XY, so XY is my mid-segment, is parallel to CD. Those are parallel, right? We said all three of these are parallel. So that is going to be one of our correct answers. Okay, then it says XY, which is my mid-segment, is half of AB plus CD. AB is the top, CD is the bottom. So it's saying half of the sum. This is another way to write this, right? I could write half of base 1 plus base 2. These mean the same thing. So this is correct. Remember, select all statements. You're always going to pick at least 2. It'll never just be 1, so you better find at least 2. Sometimes it's more than 2, but you got to find at least 2 to pick. And then it says trapezoid ABYX. So ABYX. So this little guy on the top here is congruent to trapezoid XYCD. So they're saying they're the exact same size. Okay, the bottom is bigger than the midsegment in this picture. So there's no way those trapezoids are the same size. So not that one. So just choice B and choice C. All right, number 28. A regular pentagonal pyramid is shown, and we've got these units, and it tells us what the slant height is, and it tells us what the apothem is, and the side length is 6. Which expression represents the surface area? So I want to go to my formula, and I look at surface area for a pyramid. I see two choices. This says H sub S, this says L. But in your key, we see they both need slant height. So it does not matter which one we use, it's doing the same thing. I'm going to write my formula down. Okay, this is probably my least favorite question on this review because they make it way more confusing than it needs to be. Okay, my base. My base is a pentagon. So this B has to get filled in with the formula for a pentagon. Since it's a regular pentagon, I use the regular polygon formula. So I have 1/2 of PA. So 1/2 of PA plus 1/2 of PL is what I'm using here. So we need to make sure we know what P stands for. P is perimeter of the base. So remember, perimeter means I go all the way around. So there are 6 centimeters on every side. So if I go all the way around, that's 30. So I'm going to fill that in. And I'm going to fill my slant height in. I don't know why I just wrote 1/3 here. It's supposed to be a 1/2. Okay, now this is why this is one of my least favorite questions on this whole release items thing. Because when I'm going through these choices, none of them look like the work that matches my reference sheet. So I could say, well, 30 is the same thing as if I said 5 times 6. So if I wrote that out, I'd have 5 times 6 times 4 here. And here I'd have 5 times 6 times 11 here. So now I can see I'm multiplying these 3 pieces together. And then, like, none of that matches either. So then I have to think about how can I write the same thing as this. I'm about ready to give up, right? Because I don't know which one's the same as this. So I can think about factoring, and factoring means I take out the things they have in common. So this shows up in both parts of the formula. So if I took that out of each part of the formula, I'd be left with a 4 from the first part and an 11 from the second part. Now this looks most like this one. I would probably give up on a question like this. Then I'd say, I don't know what I'm doing. So my strategy for you guys would be get your answer for this and see which one of these matches your answer. So if you were here at this step and you had to put it into your calculator, and we had 1/2, and then we had times 30 times 4, and then it was plus 1/2, and then it was 30 times 11. My answer is 225. Okay, so if I go through these choices and I want to look at this one, because this is the one I know is the right answer, I'm going to go 6 times 5 on the bottom, 2 here, and I'm going to go 4 plus 11. And I see I get 225, right? If I had tried any of these other answers, so let's just randomly pick one. Let's pick B. Okay, I got 6, I got parentheses, I got 4 plus fraction, 5 times 11. over 2, close parentheses, I get 189, right? So my advice on a question like this is just do the problem and then see which answer choice matches the answer you get, because this is way more confusing than it needs to be to factor that out. Okay, I'm gonna stop the video there.